Welcome to the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. In this episode, Executive Coach Sonya Judd, a financial literacy expert, investment strategist, and creator of Biz Whiz Kids. Sonya guides us through the world of finance, offering tips and strategies to help you take control of your finances. We discuss smart investing, real estate opportunities, and the importance of financial planning. She shares insights on building wealth, navigating the financial market, and making informed investment decisions. Whether you're starting your financial journey or enhancing your portfolio, Sonya's expertise provides the tools and knowledge to succeed. This is more than just a podcast. It's an opportunity to gain insights, be inspired, and join the conversation today. Thorn City Podcast Guy, let's go. Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show, where we network and build connections through interviews and discussions. This episode is brought to you by GMP Podcast Group. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. Make sure you visit thorncitysyndicate.com and subscribe for updates, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and to join the conversation today. So, today I have a really special guest in the spotlight, Miss Sonya Judd. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you got started on your entrepreneurial journey.
Well, I am from originally Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm one of 10 children. We are 7 girls and 3 boys. And we went on a journey for wealth very, very early. My father is a serial entrepreneur, and my mom stayed home with us. And through the course of wonderful home training, education in New York, and through my work, I started businesses and began to learn for myself how to earn money. And through that, I've learned and still used my passion for youth to pass along that knowledge.
Nice. So you have a pretty extensive background of companies you worked for, and can you tell me a few companies you worked for?
Yes. I've worked for JP Morgan Chase. I've worked for Merrill Lynch, Intel, Amazon, New Relic. I'm heavy in the tech industry. I enjoy technology very much.
Nice. So you were speaking on the youth. You have Biz Whiz. Is it Biz Whiz Kids?
Correct.
So tell me about Biz Whiz Kids and its mission.
Okay. Biz Whiz Kids is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to graduate more students from college or trade school debt-free. So that's a packed mission. So it's not just getting them into college, but also getting them out. And getting them out without the debt that comes with going to college and getting an education or going to trade school. Very often we sacrifice our knowledge and our dreams of getting an education, and then we get out and we find out, wait a minute, I can't even pursue it because I've got so much debt.
Yeah.
And that's not good. And what it does is it hampers that next stage. If you want to get married, if you're a guy and you see this beautiful woman you want to marry, it's going to be hard to have a kid with all that debt. It's going to be hard to buy a house and put your wife in with all of that debt. From the female's point of view, it's difficult for a husband to marry a wife and she's got lots of debt. You're starting out behind the curve. So there is a difference, a very, very stark difference between being prepared and being ready. I really want our youth and adults, right, to be prepared, but also when it comes time to pursue those goals, to be ready.
Nice. So what do you think the percentage of kids that graduate from college, they don't even use their degree?
Many of them do use their degree. It's the ones that are not even getting into college that don't believe they can pay for it. They don't believe that, hey, they get halfway and, hey, I can't afford to finish, so they drop out. If they do finish their degree, many of them use it, but it's sometimes crippling to be constrained to a certain industry or a certain type of job because she just can't afford to expand.
Yeah, that makes sense. So back to the kids. You teach financial literacy for the youth?
Yes.
So why is that important?
We have a problem in the U.S. We have a big problem. First of all, from a macroeconomic point of view for the United States, we have credit card debt of over $1 trillion.
Tell me about it.
Just in the U.S. alone. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Tell me about it.
49% of Americans say the state of their finances causes them mental anguish.
Yes, I've been there.
And most Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. If anything happens that costs more than $1,000, they can't handle it, right? And let's talk about Black and brown ones, okay? 45% of Black and brown people in America have no reserves or a plan for their money. So that's the macroeconomic view. As far as a problem statement, what happens when we don't have financial literacy? We make poor decisions.
Yeah.
Our decisions are based on superficial things. They're not based on long-term goals or anything like that. So we have poor decisions that put us in a cycle of lack. Very often we don't have goals if we don't have financial literacy because we don't know how far we're going to get. We have no map. So the goals are the map. We need the goals and the vision to make the map. Often we have expensive taste, especially in this generation or in the generations below us, right? We have champagne taste on a beer budget. You can't, someone telling you can't afford that, that's we'll find a way. But in those tastes, we may buy $300 sneakers, but we can't afford to pay a $90 cell phone bill. So our priorities are mixed up just a little bit, right? So we accept eventually when we have this problem statement, we accept that this lack mentality that we have, this cycle of debt, this mountain of credit cards that we've accumulated is normal. We've normalized it. It's become okay until it's not okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Then it's too late.
Well, yeah. It's never too late.
Well, it's never too late, but it's harder to get out of the hole.
It's harder to get out of the hole.
Yes.
And what we want to do is get them, you're talking about the youth, I want to get them as young as the 5th grade.
So they don't get in the hole.
They don't get in the hole. Not only do they not get in the hole, but they can teach someone else. This program is very intensive for those that are younger. For example, they have homework, and some of their homework is to go home and do a budget with whomever the head of household is. The first question is, what is your rent or your mortgage? That means they have to know the difference between rent and mortgage.
Yes.
So you ask the question to the head of household, hey, do we have rent or mortgage? Oh, we pay rent. We don't have a mortgage? No, we don't have a mortgage. So we don't own what we live in? No, someone else owns what we live in.
Paying for somebody else's dream.
That's right. Why don't we own what we live in?
Yeah.
Because I didn't go to college. Why didn't you go to college? Because I couldn't afford it. Why couldn't you afford it? Do you see how this leads to those crucial conversations that should have happened a long time ago? But like I said, it's never too late. What it does is it lights that light bulb and says, okay, maybe we should make a change now. Thank you, 7th grader, for coming home with that homework. And let's do it together. Let's make changes together. And you, with your wife or your spouse, won't have to do this. You will have a mortgage, right?
Yes, I agree. It starts early. So what inspired the creation of Biz Whiz?
I'll tell you, when I first, I told you I was one of 10 children, and we were broke as church mice. We did not have any money at all. And when the oldest was in 11th grade, my parents, who to this day I give great respect to them, they said, hey, we can't afford to send you all to college, so you're going to have to go get this thing called scholarships, and you're going to have to get a job. Well, me in 6th, 7th grade, I said, I don't want to get a job. I want to have my own. Dad, you go get your own. I want to go get my own. So I started my first business at 16. And I started to plan parties for people on my street, for family, for friends. And I knew I could control my destiny. I could control my wallet. And I knew just enough that if I do X, I can get Y, right? And so during that process, I go and I marry and I start to have children. We started out, I had Irish triplets. I had 3 babies in 1 year.
Irish triplets, what's that?
Irish triplets are having children within 12, 18 months of each other. So I had a singleton, and then 12 months later, I had a set of twins. So they were all born within 1 year.
Gee, so you went from 0 to 3, just like that.
Yeah. I took the suicide method. I didn't get the spacing memo. I didn't get that memo.
Spreading it out.
Yeah, you should have spread it out. But from there, while I wasn't working and I was at home, I wanted to really share with others my journey of earning money while not working with children. What can you do as a parent who's a stay-at-home parent to earn that money? And then I began to teach my children. That was in 2007. And I said to myself, hey, they're getting it. I can teach other kids. And so I began to do that. Even when I became more gainfully employed, I continued that journey because it was so fruitful.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Nice. So can you give me the 5 keys to financial literacy that teens and college students could understand?
Absolutely. These are very, very, I thought about this question and I thought, well, I could just say budgeting, saving, and that is true. But there's a deeper meaning to financial literacy than just money. It's also mindset. So I'm going to tackle that. So one of the first things I think about concepts that our youth should never forget is every single financial transaction matters. Whether you want it to or not, it matters. Point, make it count. Your drink at Starbucks, do you really need that? Did you apply for scholarships or did you just hope that the FAFSA would give you some money back? Every single transaction matters, so make it count. Number 2, it's never too late to be deliberate about living on a budget. Takeaway, start here. Start here. You can start very simply. Number 3, your mindset towards money frames your relationship to money, and it affects your life. Takeaway, wake up. Wake up, right? That whole we're talking about, wake up. Number 4, earning, budgeting, saving, and giving are interrelated. They cannot be separated and can change the trajectory of your life and the lives that you touch. Key takeaway, be strategic. And number 5, monitor your goals, especially your financial goals, quarterly. Key takeaway, don't hold back. Write it down, post it in front of you daily, and monitor it. That's what I would call my 5 most important concepts for our youth.
Nice. That's all great information. Shoot, I could use those. That's not only for youth, that's for the adults too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely taking my notes mentally, and good thing I'm recording all this. I can go back and watch it and listen. Well, we're gonna take a break here. Our first break. When we come back, we're gonna take the break and get a message from GMP Podcast Group, one of our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll discuss how I can start to become wealthy. Discover GMP Podcast Group Studios, located at 2406 East Burnside Street in Portland, Oregon, offering a range of podcasting packages to suit your needs, starting at just $49 per hour for your basic setup, featuring a Rodecaster Pro audio console and SM7B microphones, as well as options complete with camera operator and audio engineer expertise. Elevate your podcasting with multi-camera recording,
Plus, we capture behind-the-scenes shots within the studio. Visit us at www.gmpodcastgroup.com and let GMP Podcast Studios be where your podcasting journey begins.
Cause this syndicate lyricist exists. Don't blink one eye, baby, you just might miss history in the making from the making of this. Third, I guess it's welcome back to these words. So I'ma come well like welcome backwards for sure.
Yeah.
Sir, welcome back to the Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. Got Miss Sonya Judd in the house today.
Hello.
Yes. So it's the Spotlight Show. For me, I started it. It's all about the power of networking and forming strategic alliances. So I'm glad I got you here because this is a strategic alliance
Absolutely.
that needs to be formed.
Absolutely.
And so I think I told you the story before how I got started helping my friend out and got into management. He did music and got hooked on pills and alcohol and he wasn't doing good, man. So I had to help my friend out and I wanted some of his music. So I got him back in the studio, give him something else to live for besides chasing the pills and alcohol all day. So we recorded some songs, we traveled, did some shows, and I needed a music video and someone introduced me to Justin. And we did the honesty video. We have two versions of it. The second one we did, we actually put together a pretty significant budget and hired a real film crew. And we put together a nice piece of work, entered in some film festivals and won a few awards. Got to travel to New York and Missouri and attend a couple of film festivals. And shortly after that, my buddy went and got clean. So now he's coming up on 7 years clean and he's engaged to be married this summer. He's working a good job. So I got what I wanted out of it. Of course, I wanted a big record deal and to get rich and become a famous rapper, but that wasn't why I did it. I just wanted my friend back. And so that worked out. And so I didn't get wealthy from that, but the podcast stuff started during COVID. The music shut down and Justin was friends with a guy, the health hero, Tim James. His business wasn't doing so well. He's a health coach and sells health supplements, and they started a podcast for his business, and it kind of took off from there. And so he hit me up and was like, "Man, we should get involved in this podcasting stuff." He's seen what I did for Third Twins brand, and so he wanted me to help with the GMP brand. And so my first thing was to get a building, and we got this place here on Burnside, 2406 East Burnside Street. If you're listening out there and you want to get into podcasting, come down and we'll hook you up. But yeah, so hopefully this is the start of the wealthy side of things for us. So I'm glad you're here because you can teach us a little bit, maybe some stuff we don't know, about understanding investment principles and some of the barriers that keeps, people like us from getting to the wealth.
Absolutely.
So do you have any fundamental principles of investment and why are they important for wealth accumulation?
I do. First of all, congratulations on that story. That is the power of forming strategic alliances. It's not just helpful, it's also healing. And you put yourself out there for someone else, and that's always going to return back. So much respect for that.
Thank you.
So let's break this down because this is one of my favorite topics.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk about what investing is. Let's talk about the advantages. Let's talk about creative financing because a lot of times that's the barrier when people say, well, I can't invest. I don't even make enough. Let's talk about it, right? And let's talk about you, the investor, the person, the investor. And if we have time, we can go over some key concepts and the process. But let's go ahead and talk about the main points, okay? So investing is when you buy something in hopes that it'll appreciate or that it will increase in value. And it can be anything. An investment, you can make an investment in your education. You're paying for your education. Hopefully, the value of your skill set will increase. The same thing you do for a house or a hotel or multifamily listing, anything like that. So that's generally what an investment is. So you can keep that in mind. So it also carries some level of risk factor, right? The lower the risk, the lower the return, and vice versa. The higher the risk, the higher the return. So you have to measure your risk tolerance, all right? So the advantages of investing, there's several advantages. I'm going to only name a few. So there are the financial advantages, of course. When you make an investment, again, you get that return. So that's multiplying your investment. There are a lot of tax strategies that take advantage of investment. So you will not only, in many of your investments, be saving on taxes, but you also be eligible for a lot of returns because you have been smart up front, right? Some people want to build their portfolio. So you can invest in stocks and bonds, but you can also have a house. And then you may want to buy a hotel or invest and be a limited partner in a hotel. You're diversifying because you're able to manage and calibrate your cash returns, your tax strategies, your income. You can also form strategic alliances. That's super important because you're at the table. Being at the table brings its own benefits.
Yes, you got
right?
to the table, yes.
You got to get to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the emotional benefits. We just talked about the financial ones. There are lots of other ones, right? Maybe you say, oh, Sonya, I've always wanted to own a hotel. As many webinars as I put on, and I'm a capital raiser for Mike Ely. He's the founder of Nassau Investments, a $350 million private equity firm. He's a brother, and he's doing it, right? He is a multimillionaire, and he's building a hotel. And I'm going around raising capital and doing these webinars, and very, very affluent African Americans say, I didn't even know Black people owned hotels. A lot of people don't. You know why? We own so few of them. Unfortunately, 47% of all hotels are owned by Indian Americans. We don't have that portion. And the next 26%, Caucasians and white own. The next 22% are owned by Asian Americans. The next 1.8% are owned by Hispanic or Latino owners. And less than 1% are owned by African Americans.
Wow.
My job is to change that. And a lot of people don't understand you can be a hotel owner. So that emotional gratification of becoming a hotel owner is one of the emotional advantages that you can have. I wear that T-shirt. I'm a hotel owner. And it takes a lot less than people really realize. So let's talk about that lot less.
Okay.
What is that creative financing that we can do to own a hotel? Now, there's different types of owners. There's general partners. They put in the most money. They have the greatest risk. They also carry the liability. But there's also limited partners. They're a smaller scale investors, usually investing $25,000 or $50,000 into the hotel. Guess what? They're still hotel owners, right?
Yeah,
and
I got a dollar in there on something.
That's right. They wear that T-shirt, I'm a hotel owner. And you say, well, Sonya, I don't have $50,000. Well, how about 10 of you get $5,000, come in as an LLC, and now all 10 of you are hotel owners. How about 5 of you do $10,000? How about this? If you own a home, you have equity in your home, that's another vehicle for you to invest, right? You can do a HELOC. If you have 401k investments or you have a self-directed IRA, that can be directed towards real estate purchases. You can purchase multifamily. You can invest in a group. So a lot of those vehicles are available. It's the knowledge that people don't generally have the access to. And let me tell you the best kept secret about investing in real estate or hotels or OPM. Use other people's money.
There you go.
How do you use other people's money? Research and do that. Come to meetings, go to webinars. Most of mine are free. People like me teach. I'm an investor strategist. I teach others. Here are the pockets and surprises where you can do creative financing. You get one taste of this, you will want more. You will save more. You will want better alliances. And just sharing that information is going to be something that I think is super, super important.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for all that great information.
Of course.
So can you discuss some of the barriers faced by Black individuals in building wealth through investment?
I think that the number one thing is we don't have that seat at the table. We don't believe we have the bank account to even think about being an investor. We limit our resources to what we have in the bank. We don't think about using other people's money. So a lot of that, I group all of that as lack of knowledge, right? Lack of access.
Yes.
The other thing is lack of access, right? We may know about it, but we are not getting that access. Black founders, again, the percentage of money invested in Black founders, tech founders, has decreased for the third straight year. So African American Black founders are even less than, we're a percentage point of those that are funded. So getting access to capital sometimes is quite difficult, right? There are hurdles there systemically that keep us from doing that. And the last thing I would say, and it's in no particular order, I would say is mindset. We hold ourselves back from getting the best for us because we think there's nothing that's better. So we settle for that lack mentality or that survivalist mode as opposed to lending and not borrowing, being the head and not the tail, right? Being leaders and not followers. And so having that example like you who goes out or, with a friend and say, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do differently for ourselves and for our posterity. Sometimes you need that other person. And so just shifting that mindset is going to be really, really important.
So it's mental.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it's hidden often.
Yeah, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know.
If you don't know, you don't know. And we've been ourselves all our lives.
We can be yourself.
That's right. Right?
Yeah.
Prisons are not only behind iron bars. Right?
Yes.
Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And a slave who loves their chains will never be free.
Man, well, we're going to leave that one right there. And we're going to take one more break, get a message from Thorn City Syndicate, sponsor, the management company. But when we come back, we're going to discuss what you were just touching on there. How do we stop those self-sabotaging behaviors?
All right.
Ready.
Introducing Thorn City Syndicate Management, your solution for brand management, social media promotions, digital content distribution, and podcast production. From shaping engaging content that resonates with your audience to amplifying your brand's reach through podcasting. We're your partners in driving success. We offer free strategy sessions and leverage our recording studio and personalized strategies to establish an online presence. Your brand's journey to the top starts with Thorn City Syndicate Management, where innovation meets results. Contact us now at www.thorncitysyndicate.com to embark on the future path of transforming your brand's future.
Cause this syndicate lyricist exists. Don't blink one eye, baby, you just might miss history in the making from the making of this. Third, I guess it's welcome back to these words. So I'ma come well like welcome back words for sure.
I have some of yours. You gonna volunteer them off? I think I'm gonna have to pass. Welcome back to the Spotlight Show. Oh man, I'm loving what we got going on here, Miss Sonya. You got so much good information. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this and take my own notes and reach out and really see how we can put something together. But this next topic, I probably suffer from some of this myself, stopping the self-sabotaging behaviors. So what are some of the common signs that some people engage in self-sabotaging behaviors?
Being stuck in the same cycle. I think often, you can say God, the universe, you will be stuck in the same lesson in different ways until you learn. So if you've been around the block and you keep seeing this same car, there's something hidden that you have not addressed yet. So if you are stuck in this cycle, that may be an indication there's a hurt or there's a wound or there's a trauma that is causing that you have not addressed yet, or that may be hidden, all right? Another common sign is you reject help quickly. If you are opposed to that little prick or someone saying, I don't know if you noticed, but you do this thing and then don't know if you know. If you reject that, that may be a sign that you are having some self-sabotaging behaviors that you either holding on to, you feel like you need it, it's safe, it's comfortable. And if I forgive, if I stop being angry, if I stop stealing, if I stop lying, then what? What does the other side of that look like, right? So often when we're rejecting help, that may be an indication of something we may need to look at. The other thing I think is a sign, maybe, is you know it and you avoid it.
Denial.
You're in denial. You're in denial. And that one's tough because being self-aware, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful tools we can have. You know it's there. When you know better, you do better. But when you're in denial, you're intentionally knowing better and not doing better. That says something, right?
Worse.
That says something.
Yeah, that's the worst. So how does one recognize these patterns?
Maybe someone tells you. Maybe you see them in yourself, or you see them in others that are close to you. A lot of times we are around people that are like us. And if you don't like something somebody else is doing and you're still around them, it's probably something you do as well, right? If you're not growing, you're being stagnant, right? There's no such thing as, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. There's no such thing as being stagnant. You're either growing or you're going backwards.
Or the other.
And you need others
to
help with your success, right? There's no I in team. I used to hate when I heard that, but I'm like, there's no successful person that's done it by themselves. And if they say that, they're lying. If they say that, they're lying.
Yep. So, yeah, that's definitely the point where we're at around here is we got to start getting more team around us. It's just me and Justin. So we wearing a lot of hats. And so yeah, that's our next step is to get a team in here and can help us grow this business to the next level.
I love that you are recognizing that. And if I could say one more thing about that, get someone that's not like you. You need that diversity of thought. You need that adversarial point of view. You need somebody who's come from a different environment. You also need a truth teller. That's somebody who's not afraid to kind of say, you know what? That really didn't go well. You really messed that up, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to help you.
And this is what we're going to do.
Right. Yes, men don't help you grow.
No.
So you need a truth teller around you if you can find that person.
Oh, man, that's the truth. So changing mindset and behaviors. That seems like a tough one for a lot of people. What steps can someone take to shift their mindset and break free from the self-limiting beliefs?
This one's going to hurt, but it's the number one thing. You got to be truthful with yourself about what you need the most. When you need help, go get the help, right? Otherwise, you just treat the symptoms. And the symptoms may go away for a time, but because you haven't dealt with the root, just like any crab weed, it will grow right back, right? Number two, find the resources that help you, right? It's not just coaches like me or therapists, but if you're not feeling well, go to the doctor. I think in the African-American community, and sometimes the elderly community, sometimes older people don't like hospitals or don't like doctors, but we are really not helping ourselves by restraining ourselves and saying, "Oh, that I don't need the help." The first 30 minutes of coaching with me is free. Just ask someone, find the resources, and go get them. Number 3 is take the action. My grandmother used to say, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll change. And that is the truth.
Yeah.
Once you get tired of being, this behavior, until then, you'll just tolerate it. But there will be a pivotal point in either your life, your relationships, your finances, where life says, that's enough. And we're cutting you off of this behavior because it's not good and you have not changed it yourself. So that hurts.
Yeah.
But it's so good for you if you would accept the lesson, process it, and change.
Change. That's the tough part.
That's tough.
So you touched on something I want you to get a little bit more in depth to, is the addressing the underlying wounds and traumas on working on self-improvement.
Absolutely. If you're asking me how, I will be the first to tell you that I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. So really, that's your first line of defense, is really seeking a professional that will help you. However, I am a coach, and I am a reflective source for you to share what's happening, and perhaps I can share and reflect back to you based on my experience and based on my knowledge what it looks like. But it's still up to you to address it. And what a coach does is walk alongside of you during this process. And often we are tasked with sharing with you sometimes what you don't want to hear, but also on the flip side, being your cheerleader. You did that really well, Naeem. Keep doing that behavior. Or, what didn't go well about that? Right? What can we change and make that better? Sometimes the enemy of right is good. Just because something is good, it doesn't mean it's right for you, for that situation, for that timing. So you have to be really sober in your decision-making and asking the right people for the right advice. If your friends are doing the same behavior as you're doing, asking them, why?
You better get away from them. Some new friends.
Yeah, run.
Change the circle.
Right. But being introspective is really helpful. If you're running fast in the wrong direction, you're not going anywhere. That doesn't help. So really recognizing those things that are a part of us that we may have hidden, and maybe we need a professional to help us dig through those childhood traumas that hid themselves and we are not aware. Why is that important? It's important because our adult behaviors often emanate from childhood traumas that have been long hidden and boxed away and we don't even know. But if we can address the root, again, going back to the root, open up that chest, heal that trauma, those behaviors, attitudes, actions that we're doing as adults start to change, because that trauma, we're not operating from our wounds. If we're operating from our wounds, we're broken people, and broken people break other people, right?
People and things.
You've lived any length of life. You've gone through an experience of pain, but processing that and understanding what's on the other side of that and healing that is going to make you an advocate for change for yourself and for others.
Nice. So recovery strategies. How does one recover from these self-sabotaging things going on? You have any tools or strategies?
Take your time. Journal.
Write it down.
Vent. Talk about it. If you need to share some deep truths, find someone who is a trusted listener, and it may not be your partner. Find a trusted listener who will either ask you the questions, right? When you're talking to me, would you like me to help? Would you like me to listen? Or do you want advice? So when they're sharing those things with you, say, okay, I hear you. Now, what of those three things would you like me to do? Just listen?
Just listen.
Do you want advice? Or do you want healing from that? Right? Yeah. So really processing it. A lot of times, many behaviors can be addressed through getting more healthy habits. Do you know how little sleep Americans get?
Oh, if I know me personally.
Absolutely.
I don't get enough.
We're high-stressed individuals, type A's that go 27 hours out of the 24.
Yes.
If you grab my book, Rest in the Nest, Powerful Principles of Rest, you'll recognize that there are not just physical benefits from sleep, there are physiological benefits from sleep and rest. You need to rest, eating more healthy, right? We're running our machines, our bodies, on very little food, and most of it's not healthy. If we just tweak some of the things that we're not prioritizing right now, ourselves, our health, our sleep, our relationships that we nurture, getting the help that we need, right? These are all things that we can be very, very deliberate about doing. We should calendar it, right? A 30-minute nap, 2:30 to 3 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Calendar it. Calendar, I'm going to meet a different friend on Saturdays for the next 6 months because I want to build strategic alliances and I want to nurture the ones that I have, right? It's so easy to become insular. And I'm an ambivert, right? I enjoy being an introvert, but I also am an extrovert. I like talking to people, but being by myself is not always the healthiest thing. Others need what you have, right? People need to hear what you have, and that leads to the last thing. Find your purpose. Why are you here? Why do you exist on the earth? Who are you? Where are you supposed to be? Once we're operating in our purpose and our passion and that plan, we optimize our growth and others are drawn to what they need in us. So be very, very deliberate about understanding who you are and what your purpose is. Seek it. None of these things that we're talking about are going to be easy. I never said it'd be easy.
No.
And if you want it, you're going to have to fight for it because your body, your behavior, the people you're around have seen you in your life all your life.
Yes.
You're trying to change the trajectory of things. So you're going to have to fight for it. You can get it. And fight you must. And it is so well worth it.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. I ended up starting my own podcast. I needed to come from behind the scenes and get out of my own way and open up a little bit and meet people and, like I said, network and see who I can talk to help me along my journey, share a little bit of my journey and maybe help someone else along their journey. And like I said, bring people in who can share and help people out along their journey as well.
I love that. I want to ask you a question. What motivated you? What was your primary motivation? Was it a person, idea, place?
For starting the podcast?
For all of this change in your life, what you just talked about.
Well, the main thing for me was, how do I get the business? How do I get this business up to another level? How do I expand the business, my business, the podcast business? And I'm sitting here running a podcast studio. And so I'm telling other people what you need to do if you're a business to start a podcast. So I'm like, I didn't want to. I had to fight myself for many, many months. And I knew I needed to do it, didn't want to do it, but I know I needed to do it. And so it was a matter of, it was for the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yep.
That's awesome. The same thing you'd say to your listeners,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
I want it change,
Mm-hmm.
and I want it to have an impact.
Yep.
And that drove you to success.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So how can the listeners connect with Miss Sonya Judd?
Well, they can always reach out on sjsexecutivecoaching.com. You can book a call. You can also look at my Facebook, Twitter for SJS Executive Coaching, or Instagram. And also look at LinkedIn. I offer several webinars. There are summer camps that are available for Biz Whiz Kids. Summer camps and year-long programs. So I welcome one and all. It's not just for youth. It's also for adults. So let's get in contact and let's change your life.
Well, this was great. I enjoyed our conversation. I learned a lot, and it's probably a lot more I wanted to get. So I might have to get you to come back.
I'll be
you're up
happy
for it.
to. I'll be
Yes.
happy to.
Nice. I appreciate it. Well, I like to encourage my listeners to explore their passions, embrace innovation, and pursue entrepreneurship in their own unique ways. Thanks for joining us. Explore the power of networking and find inspiration by following me at Thorn City Podcast Guy. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be the first to know about the new releases, bonus episodes, and exciting updates. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes of the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show as we continue to highlight individuals, businesses, brands, and podcasters. And don't forget to subscribe to Thorn City Podcast Guy YouTube channel and follow at Thorn City Syndicate, the management company, and at GMP Podcast Group, the production company as well. Be sure to drop by www.thorncitysyndicate.com and schedule your free strategy session. Thorn City Podcast Guy, holla at your boy.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Great.
What man? What power? Hoodoo.
I appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show, where we network and build connections, interviews, and discussions. Until next time, I like your boy, Thorn City Podcast Guy. I'm out.
You remind me of a man.